Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, we shall see how to divide integers. Let us talk about the rule involved in dividing integers. The rule we want to follow, rule for division. The rule for division is as follows. If we have a positive number divided by a positive number, the result is always going to be a positive number. If we have a negative number divided by a positive number, the result is always going to be equal to a negative number. If we have a positive number and if we were to divide it by a negative number, the result is always going to be equal to a negative number. If we have a negative number divided by a negative number, the result is always going to be equal to a positive number. So I'm going to put this in a box here. These are the sine rule of division. So as you can see, when we have like terms divided by one another, positive divided by positive or negative divided by negative, the result is always a positive number. When we have unlike terms, that is negative divided by positive or positive divided by negative, the result is always going to be equal to a negative number. So let's look at some examples related to these. In here, let us take an example. We want to divide 25 by 5. So we'll write them down in steps. Step number 1, we have a positive 25 divided by a positive 5. That is what it means. When we do not have any sign in front of the numbers, the positive numbers are implied. So in here, we're going to then say positive number divided by a positive number is going to be equal to positive. And then as step number 2, we go to then come back and then say 25 divided by 5. 25 is multiples of 5, and therefore if you were to simplify it right here, you can say 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 5 is 25, and therefore we are left with the number 5. And then you can write the third step as positive 25 divided by positive 5 is going to be equal to positive 5, or you can just write it as 5. The positive signs will then be implied. So this is the way we want to express our answer for these types of problems. Another way of looking at it is we have 25 and you're dividing it by 5. So 5 times what number is equal to or less than 25? 5 times 5 is exactly equal to 25, and when we subtract it, the remainder is going to be equal to 0. That is another way of looking at it. So let's look at another example here. In this example, we're going to say we want to divide negative 25 by a positive 5. We just changed some of the parameters here, but we will see how we can simplify this. Step number 1, we have negative 25 divided by a positive 5. When we have a number without any sign, the positive signs are implied. So if we were to recall our sign rule, negative number divided by a positive number will be a negative value. And then step number 2, we're going to simplify the number 25 divided by 5. We have just seen that 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, it simplifies to 5. 5 divided by 1 is 5. Therefore, we can just write it as 5 like that. And then we can put all of this together and then say in step number 3, negative 25 divided by positive 5 is Negative number divided by a positive number is a negative number. Negative value divided by a positive value will be a negative value. 25 is a multiples of 5, which we have just seen in step 2, so we can write it as 5, negative 5, like that. And then we have to write the negative sign. If we do not put the negative signs are not implied. Only the positive signs are implied. So when the answer is a negative value, we have to write the negative value. So let's take another example. In this example, we will see how to simplify this. We want to divide these two numbers. Positive 25 divided by negative 5 this time. We have a negative number in the denominator. So how do we do that? Let's write them down in these steps, which is easier to follow. Step number 1. We have positive 25 divided by negative 5. Here we're going to recall our sine rule. Positive number divided by a negative number is a negative value. And then step number 2, we're going to come back and then say we have a 25 divided by 5. 25 divided by 5. 25 is a multiples of 5, as we have seen in these previous examples. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, we are left with 5. And then, therefore, as the next step, step number 3, we're going to put all of these together and then say 25 divided by negative 5 is going to be equal to negative 5. Positive divided by negative is a negative, and then 25 goes into 5 times, therefore negative 5 is our answer. That is how we want to simplify these problems. Let me explain one more example when both the numbers are negative numbers. Okay, example. In here we have the following example. In this example, we have negative 25 divided by negative 5. So as step number 1, we're going to say negative 25 divided by negative 5. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 25 divided by 5. 25 goes into 5 times. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, we are left with positive 5. And that is where we want to leave it. The answer here is a positive 5, or we can also write this one as just 5. Both ways of writing it is correct. If we just write 5, the positive sign is implied, and therefore that is our answer. So in my next presentation, we shall see how to divide some more integers.